Hi YouTube, my name's Minty. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is actually going to be about the top 5 mistakes I made when building my conversion van. I want to go over this with you guys so you guys don't make the same mistakes that I made, because these mistakes cost me money and I want you guys to avoid making the same ones. First on the list, the batteries I chose for my solar backup and my backup batteries in general. When I first went with this, I actually went to a local battery store and asked for their opinion. It was very wrong. So they recommended I go with AMG batteries or lead, and what I ended up finding out is that Life 4Po is much better. Now let me give you a rundown. Lead batteries don't last as long. They're very heavy. AMG is a step up above lead batteries. They last a little longer. This can be discharged a little bit more, but they're still very heavy. Life 4Po can fully be discharged versus AMG being about 60 to 80%, and they also weigh about half the weight of the AMG batteries and last much longer. So overall, if I was going to do it again, even though Life 4Po is more expensive, per cycle they're cheaper and they are much more efficient and weigh a lot less. Secondly, I'm not taking the time to pre-figure out the layout that I wanted to do, and changing it over time cost me money as well, as I had to continue figuring out where I wanted things to go. The biggest thing for me, and I'm glad that I used my magnetic mounting system, was my roof. I ended up deciding to go with a max air fan in the end once I went out camping and figured out this is something I needed for circulation, because it was too muggy without it. And if I had solidly mounted my solar panels, I would have had to make more holes, redo the whole thing. So figure out exactly what you're going to be needing. So do short trips as you're building it to figure out what you're going to need before you do permanent mounts and permanent solutions. 3. This is going to do with my power inverter. Initially, I went with a 3000 watt and a 1500 watt modified inverter. So modified inverters are great and cheaper than pure sine, but they're traditionally better for tools, equipment that uses a lot of power but does not care about the current. And a better way to explain it is, for example, pure sine is much better for electronics and sensitive electronics, such as computers, monitors, etc. And that's what my primary use was going to be, compared to tools or more rugged items that modified would have been better for. So whenever I had my computer plugged into my modified inverter, it would make buzzing sounds on the inverter. Although it wasn't damaging the computer, it was still very concerning, as the equipment connected to it was very, very expensive, and the price difference to me just was not worth that risk. It was only about $100, $200 more for a pure sine versus a modified of the same capacity. 4, not insulating. So when I originally was building this out, I told myself, what is the point of insulating? I don't think it's a big deal. A lot of us don't really understand it, and the biggest way I can explain this is I did my first trip and it was obviously getting very cold in the van. I now have moderately insulated, so we have these panels set up and behind them is spray foam across the board. We recently did a trip where it got about 50 degrees. The inside stayed warm for several hours while we slept, and then it got slightly cold, and all we had to do was turn on the van for 10 minutes, and the heat from the van kept it warm for the next 4 or 5 hours. So that is definitely a must for building these vans out, and I think, once again, going back to not taking the time to figure out a layout, that is something that should be part of the layout. And 5, overthinking. So when building this van, I definitely overthought a lot of every single process, every single step, trying to be over-prepared. The reality is, just go out and about, go do your day trips, and figure out what you're going to be needing from these day trips. That is going to be your best learning experience that you can do. overthinking this is not going to help you, and at the end of the day, even with all the overthinking, over-preparedness, you're still going to go out and there's still something you're going to be missing. So just do day trips to figure out and make sure you have everything you're going to be needing, and that's going to be the best way to be prepared. Overthinking is not going to help, and over-preparing is not going to help, because you're going to end up with a lot of stuff that you really, really do not need. So those are my 5 mistakes that I made that cost me hundreds, if not over $1,000. So take this video as good advice. Take this video as a learning lesson that I learned that you can now apply to save money on your build. And if you guys have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you like content like this, feel free to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day.